special man. In fact, we're going to bring him in right now before we get into the yard. Just come over here, Father. I'm going to get a blessing before we go too much farther. I want a blessing to get through this series. Father Brian Glasheen, the pacing priest, is with us. How many INTERDOMINIONs have you been to?
Oh, about 45.
Is it really 45?
Yeah, I may not have been to 45 finals, but I've been to 45 INTERDOMINIONs. Occasionally I might have missed the final, seen the heats and missed out on the final or something like that.
Well, to put that into perspective, this is the 80th INTERDOMINION, and you've been to 40. You've been to more than half of them. Brian Hancock hasn't been to more than half of them.
Oh yeah, Brian he's a magician.
Did you pick a barrier for him for our events like one year?
I did in New Zealand at Auckland, yes.
Yeah, and you would always bless the colours?
Yes, when invited, yes. Yeah.
Now tell us about your involvement in Triple Eight. They gave you a share in this horse.
Oh, well, there was 3 guys from Bacchus Marsh, Shannon Nixon, Joel Watson and Shane Cook, and they rang me up and said they'd take me out to dinner. And about halfway through the meal, I said, "What's going on?" They said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I said, "Archbishop Little said there's no such thing as a free feed." So they pulled out papers and they said, "Here, sign here." And I said, "What am I signing?" And they said 4%, I get 4%, but somehow or other that's jumped to 8% now.
Now, is it true you married most of the family and christened most of the children?
I married 2 couples, and the 3rd couple I was asked to marry, but I was already committed to a wedding on the same day at the same time, and they wanted to be married to Dalesford, so I couldn't do it. But Joel said, "Oh, you come to the reception, make a speech." So I did.
You're going to go there anyway.
And I baptised the kids of each of the 3 families.
Can you tell us the story? Fred and Judith Kersley are watching our coverage.
Hello, Fred.
Hello, Fred and Judith.
And young Fred won the other day.
He did. And you blessed Northerly before the Cox played.
Twice. Winning twice.
We only won 2. He didn't need a 3rd.
Yeah, I blessed him 14 times and he won.
Because he was crazy too, wasn't he? But he loved you.
Well, I don't know. According to the strapper, he hated people, and she said he only loves the boss and me, meaning Fred.
Yeah.
And anyway, while Judy and her were fighting on the side, I just stood in front of the horse, and he was looking around at Flemington. He'd never been to such a busy place.
Yeah.
And then he noticed me, and he put his head down.
Yeah.
So I put my head down, and I got the hands up behind his ear and into his jowl. And he lowered his head, and I put my hand on the head, and the 2 women are still fighting. And I blessed him, and when I finished, he licked my hand like a calf. It licks your hand. Yeah. And the strapper said, "Oh, don't believe it, don't believe it." Anyway, after he won, sat 3 wide in record time and won the Australian Cup, they all wanted me to bless him.
I'd hate to think how many in harness racing you've married. Would you have a clue how many people you've married in this industry?
I've buried more. I buried one the other day. I reckon it's real sad in the COVID. It was Bruce Barron. Now, the Barons were legendary in harness racing. And because of COVID, I think there was only 10 people there. And Bruce had done a lot, especially for the kids' pony trots. He and Andrea, they looked after the pony trots for about 23 years, I think, and there were 10 people there, and I think I was the only trotting one there. Rod O'Kane, I think, was there. He was a trotting man too, but we were the only trotting people there.
And the Tubbs are a wonderful family from Bacchus Marsh, and Jess Tubbs, of course, trains Triple Eight, and her old man Alan was a superstar.
Well, he trained horses for me too, Deltes.
Yeah.
Deltes. We had a bit of fun with Deltes.
Well, go out and see your horse and cheer him home.
Okay, terrific. Good to see you.
Great to see you, Father.
And you're a survivor.
Oh, aren't we white? Aren't we white?
And you're an apprentice.
But I hope I hang on a little bit longer before I have to see you again.
You better not tell the story that you told us about Mr. Radley in New Zealand.
No, that was the story I told you. I'd never tell that story. In fact, he can't remember it. Here they